Well, hey there friends, it's Chris from the Rate the Record podcast, and guess what? It's time for the new music review. You already knew that from the title below. It's fine, it's obvious. I've listened to 3 brand new songs, and I've got opinions on them. And you probably do too, and I want to hear your opinions. I want to exchange these opinions, that's how this whole thing works. I also don't want to waste any more time, so why don't we just get on with it? And as I position myself, let me just remind you that if you like what you see and over here today, to like and subscribe, please and thank you. Support means the world. It's free and easy to do and also very quick. So go ahead, do that, and without further ado, I will get on with the review. So first up on the list today, we have The Cure. They don't really need an introduction, but I mean, they've been around for quite a long time now, made quite a name for themselves. Very influential band in the goth rock, jangle pop, kind of post-punk scene of the 80s and everything like that. Anyways, they have a brand new album coming out on November 1st, and they just released their second new single from that album. It's called A Fragile Thing. I definitely do like the emotional and moody style of the instrumentals and vocal delivery, and I mean, like, what can you honestly expect from The Cure out of a Cure track? It all works really well here, and the fact that it's been this long and you're still kind of getting that same feeling of like, yeah, this is definitely The Cure. It's nice. They're a band that doesn't really need to change up too much, although they have done different things throughout their career and experimented a bit. They have a stable sound, and it's nice that they're kind of coming back to that. With this song, though, I feel like the production's a little blown at times, like a little blown out. Maybe it's like a little too polished as compared to their older material. I don't want to say that the sound was warm, but I'm pretty sure like a lot of it was done on analog, so obviously it had that warmer texture to it. This one is just like maybe a little too polished and just, I don't know, a little too sharp, so it just feels a little weird in the way that it's sitting. And listen, I get it, it's 2024, things are different now, they're probably going far more digital, and that's okay. I don't necessarily hate it, and as a matter of fact, I will check out the entire album when it finally does come out. But just, I don't know, it has a very sharp quality to it, and again, something about the production feels slightly overblown. I gotta make this note too, because I've done this before with like legacy bands. The one thing I can say about Robert Smith aging is that his voice is suited to mature with him, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like, his voice still works fantastically to this day. Like, he has not missed a beat, and it's not that hard to. He's just got that kind of like wailing, kind of like sad, frail voice, and that has worked well following him into his older years. And I only bring this up because the amount of legacy bands I've done on the NMR, I mean, some of these singers are holding on for dear life, if they are at all. So I mean, like, the fact that Robert Smith has still got it, like, that's very, very encouraging. I like that. Overall, it's a pretty nice track all around. I don't have too many complaints about it, other than the fact that the production does feel a little blown out, as I've already mentioned. But you know what? It's a good track. I like it. I think you should check it out. I like The Cure. Could you tell with the Robert Smith behind me that I like The Cure? Just saying. Moving on now, we have everyone's favorite band in the entire world, Coldplay, and they have a brand new album out. I think it came out October 4th. I didn't write that note down, I probably should have, but their new single that's coming off of that album is called All My Love. For a little while into this track, this one actually kind of gave me the vibes of one of their older tracks called The Scientist. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't. I mean, it was a pretty popular track when it came out. And if I'm being honest, I don't really like Coldplay, but I really do like that song. That one's always kind of stuck with me. It's just, it's really nicely done, really nicely written. I've always kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm getting the vibes of that song in this one in small amounts, not all over the place, not entirely, but it does kind of sprinkle itself in. But I will say The Scientist works a hell of a lot better than this one. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward piano-based ballad with like Chris Martin obviously doing some emotional like love song singing. You get some string layers kind of just thrown in, which honestly doesn't really sound all that bad. I mean, it's fine, but I think what really kind of like soured it for me is when the full band kicks in a little later in the song. I think it just kind of cheapens the emotional part of the track that came like in the first half. Like, I don't know. It shouldn't have been a thing with that band. Even with that slight praise pushed onto it and then with the negative after it, I will say that overall, I don't really care much for it. I'm not really a Coldplay fan at all. Obviously, they're very popular. They have like immense amounts of people who will go to their shows. Their songs can be incredibly catchy earworms. I'm just not for it. I don't know. I mean, the song is pretty, but then it's pretty cheesy, again, because of the full band that kind of comes in a little later and just, it doesn't sound all that great. It's not the worst thing they've put out, I will say that much. I'm glad this didn't turn into this big dancey poppy kind of number, which would have completely tanked it for me. This is tolerable enough, and I mean, like, if the full band had stayed out of it, I would have likely scored this higher, so it is what it is. And finally today, as if digging back to the 80s for The Cure wasn't enough for you, I went back to the 80s one more time and pulled out Duran Duran for you because they actually have a new song out. Kind of a new song, it's a cover, Evil Woman. Yes, this is a cover of Electric Light Orchestra's 1975 hit, awesome song. I actually really like this Evil Woman, so I'm hoping nothing can go wrong because I really like the original. I mean, you can absolutely dance to the original as well, and I think that's kind of the purpose with some of the ELO songs. As much as it's rock-based, it's still kind of danceable in its own way, especially in like that 70s style of way, and even into the 80s as well. But this one is far funkier, like disco-ish, Motown type of production, like even being different from Duran Duran's usual new wave style of like synth pop or like pop rock of the 80s. Like this feels very different in many ways. Aside from the stylistic changes, it's pretty by the numbers with this one. Nothing really differs from it too much. It's a close enough cut and paste of the original, so you're not getting any new touches. You're not getting Duran Duran's own special like thing put onto it other than being like a synthy disco-ish type of song. And I mean, like, I think one of my bigger gripes about this is that they replaced the charm of actually having real string instruments in the song and replaced it with like cheesy disco synths. So I don't know. I mean, it's not awful, but it's real generic in the end. I'll leave it there too. Overall, it's alright. It's fun. It's a dancey little number. But as I said, it's pretty damn generic, like in its styling, what it's doing. Feels a little outdated in a way too. I don't know. Goes without saying though, ELO did it better. Jeff Lynne did it better because Jeff Lynne's just a great writer all around. So if you're hearing Evil Woman for the first time, and if this happens to be your first time, I encourage you to go back and listen to the original because it's far better. You'll see the source material. You'll understand what I mean. You're not really missing much with this one if you don't listen to this one first. It's fine. And that's all I have for the new music review today, so thank you very much for checking this out and hanging out, listening to these songs with me. And if you did indeed listen to these songs, do me a favor down in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about these songs. Did you love them? Do you hate them? Do you agree or disagree with me? Anything about these songs that you got, I want to hear down in the comments. Your opinions mean a lot because music commentary is not just a one-way street. You can participate too. And by the way, if you're looking for more places to add your opinions, not just in the comments below, you can always go to ratetherecord.ca. Yes, that is ratetherecord.ca. Streaming links, social media links, merch links, and of course the RTR Club. $3 a month. The financial way to support the show, it's optional, but the option's indeed yours. You can check that all out at ratetherecord.ca. I've got nothing else for you, so all I'll say is if you've been missing the podcast so far, you've been missing some pretty damn good episodes. I will say that much. This past Monday, I should say, episode 119 came out, and I was looking at the band Tobacco. It's more an artist, not a band. And the album Ultima 2 Massage. Pretty strange name, right? Well, it's a pretty strange album. I encourage you to listen to it. Check out the episode. It's different. If I don't even want to like spoil anything about it, but I'll just say like it might be different from what you're used to. Might be very strange, interesting. So I encourage you, check it out. You're gonna love it. I'll leave it right there. So go back, check out old podcast episodes, check out the songs we listened to today, and of course come back Monday for episode 120 of the podcast. So until then, go listen to even more awesome music, and I'll see you real soon. Take care, friends.